Audacity.
So, I am going to drop this at the open. I might have to step away from the microphone at some point. It is entirely possible you might hear me speaking to the police.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Is that something you can talk about, or should we just not engage with that?
I am going to open with a fun story for today because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Most of my time has not been especially fun, though I do have things to talk about. But aside from that, today. So, we had a new gate installed for mine and my downstairs neighbor's flats, apartments, whatever.
Okay.
Americans. And it very nice, very nice light colored wood. Looks nicer than every other fence panel in like a 300-yard radius. But it has a deadbolt installed on it. Like the sliding kind that's manual. You've got to pull it back and forth. So, for reasons that I'm not going to go into, I've been running back and forth from my flat to my mum's house for the past couple of weeks. And my downstairs neighbours have gotten into the habit of securing the deadbolt on the gate, which is less than convenient for me.
A bit annoying, but it is what it's there for, I suppose.
I would like to get to my door. So that's a thing that is important when I'm coming home. So I noticed they did it today, and I've got some deliveries coming. I thought, okay, this is getting mildly annoying, so I'm going to go, say, hey, there is literally no reason to secure the deadbolt on the gate. Could you not do that? It has a latch, it's fine, it's secured. You don't need to, actually lock the gate on me so I can't get in. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah. The reason I was given was because they were afraid the dogs were going to get out, which, okay.
Sure, a bit excessive, but all right.
The dogs are about 6 inches tall. The latch is about 3 feet up. They are tiny little things. I would be very surprised if they were capable of working the latch, but sure, why not? Whatever. They said, okay, we'll stop doing that and leave it alone. So about an hour ago, I get a knock on my door, and it's the neighbor. And he's like, yeah, I know you came round early today asking about the deadbolt. And yeah, so we have a security camera for the back area. And we caught some guy who came into the back where the doors are, stashed a weapon in one of our drains, and then hopped over a fence.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Actually, or does this the male guy?
Actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's, timing is what I would call that. Holy shit. There's no reason for you to secure the gate. There's no need to lock it or anything. What's gonna happen? It's nothing. It's no big deal. Immediately.
That's pretty bad, and I hope nobody has accused you of being an inside jobber or something. I don't know.
Agreed.
Had not considered that part, but I don't know. No. Yeah. So that was a whole thing to I don't know. I can't imagine the world sort of deciding to. It's like I got hit by crazy talk. That thing from Best Friends where it's like you say a thing and then the world conspires to make you wrong instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sure. All right. I guess we're locking the deadbolt now. I guess I don't have a leg to stand on anymore.
Nope. There was one chance, and it was ruined for you.
So, yeah. Okay.
God, I can't get over how fast that was.
Literally the same day. That was 2 in the afternoon, and I was like, yeah, could you stop it? Because I'm expecting deliveries and it's annoying. And the delivery guy can usually barely work out how to use the latch, let alone try and get at the deadbolt.
Yeah.
And Yeah, and 8 hours, not even eight, 6 hours later, some dude is like breaking in, like fucking what? Yeah. So anyway, that's how my day's gone so far. How about you guys?
Better than that, I want to say.
I mean,
Agreed.
I'm home alone, so I'm taking care of dog.
Don't electrocute people, or swing battering rams at them.
No, the traps are already set up. There's no stopping that.
Burn his head with a blowtorch, or smash his face with an iron, hit him in the face with a paint can, maybe, or shove a nail through his foot.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Several things that could probably kill someone.
I mean, if
I mean,
they're
Tennyson's
entering
a
my
fuck.
funhouse of horrors, then they're gonna have to face it.
Just remember to disarm those when your family gets back. That would
Yeah.
be embarrassing.
Hmm.
No, but yeah, no, it's going good. Final Fantasy 14 brought back the Fall Guys.
Ironically, I probably could have used some Home Alone traps. Now I think about
Yeah.
Yeah,
it.
honestly, helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Fall Guys is back in Final
Yeah, it
Fantasy
is.
14, and
It's a thing. I hate the fucking gem minigame. I hate it.
yeah,
It sucks.
um, it's pretty. That one's pretty tough. You have to learn the timings for some of them, and then they randomize it a little bit.
The
So,
lag on it is what always gets me. Like, oh, I didn't get hit by it. You got hit by it. I
yep,
promise.
you have to. The timing is so specific. It's much tighter than the visual implies it is,
Yeah.
which is frustrating. And they didn't update or change this event since they last ran it. So the timing is still the same. Like, say for example, there's this one uh you have to run past these huge boxing gloves that punch upwards. You have to run past them as soon as they go down. If you try to do it any later, then you will
Yep.
get punched, even if you're a few feet away from it when it comes up.
Yep. It's the
Like,
blue
there's
one
no
that
getting
gets me
around that.
most.
The blue one has a pattern that it goes in, but then it sometimes will reverse the pattern just to mess with you.
Hmm.
Um, once
But
you
yeah.
learn the pattern, it's not so bad, but
Yeah. I can always pass the first round. The one you go in circles, I have passed once, but I am pretty confident in. I just kind of get greedy on that one and be like, hey, I need to keep moving when I consistently end up being the last one eliminated. So I could probably just wait for someone else to fuck up instead of going
if you
as
get a
hard.
good enough lead, you can just kind of chill in that one. Um, I've almost lapped the death wall that comes behind you, and I've had to slow down. I'm like, I'm going too fast because if you optimize your movement and you start on the right side, you have a pretty big advantage. But
Yeah.
yeah, so for those who don't know, Final Fantasy 14 has a Fall Guys event in which you go through 3 stages of Fall Guys challenges, and have to go through obstacle courses
Yeah.
with all of
they
the.
they do have like their own version of that, which is the Golden Saucer that has similar style of events, but this is with the Fall Guys aesthetic and everything added to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
That's
so you have
fun.
you have to avoid the things that would otherwise hit you, and use Final Fantasy 14 mechanics that a lot of those mechanics that you encounter in the Fall Guys stuff are things that will appear in like dungeons and raids and stuff, which is kind of funny. But
It's a little obtuse to figure out what it exactly wants you to do. Like that thing where you're going down the slope and it's got the timer ticking down, and it just
yeah,
if you
that's
don't
an
know what you're doing,
acceleration
you just
button.
kind of have to let it hit you. But what it actually wants you to do is stop before it hits like the end of the timer.
Hmm.
Stop moving.
That's a mechanic that doesn't come in until 14 a bit later. So players who aren't that far in might not have seen that before.
Yeah.
But you will get 100 wins. You get the King Bean title. For those who are longtime listeners, you may recall I was one of the first people to get that title because I know Life to This event when it first came out. Um,
I do remember the deadness in your voice around that time.
but now that I have that title, I can just play it. I don't care if I win. As long as I get past the first 2 stages, I'm just chill.
You can get all of the die because that's pretty much all that's left in the.
The rationing manuals are really good for people who do raids because it extends the duration of food buffs by 15
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I have over 100 of those, and I've not run out since last Fall Guys. Now I'm restocking a little bit because those are always going to be good in terms of saving you money because buying or making food, raid food, is expensive. So, I mean,
There are
saves money.
those. There are a bunch of dyes, and there is the Aetheryte tickets that take you straight to the Golden Saucer, which you never need.
The dyes, by the way, can sell for a good chunk of money. So if you need a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
money and you're playing a lot of Fall Guys, you can sell that pretty reliably.
yeah, fashion and stuff.
Yeah.
Makes
Everybody's
sense.
constantly making new glam, so they're always going to be doing that. And when they add two channel dye in Dawn Trail,
Oh
they
god,
will
yeah.
be dyes are going to be even more expensive because you'll have twice as more. It might actually go down because I don't know. We'll see how the market is affected by additional dye slots.
It depends on whether they're going to increase the amount that you can obtain dye as well to compensate.
hmm Um, there was a since we last recorded, they did do a whole live letter breakdown of some new stuff in 14 for Dawn Trail and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Showing off new job actions, which Ninja it no longer has. So the Ninja class that both me and Casey play has a buff that increases your speed, basically. Increases how fast your actions come off of cooldown. And you
Okay.
have to
Yep.
constantly use another action to reapply that buff every
Yep.
time it's about to go down.
You let's just put it this way: you have a certain number of special actions that you can do a bunch of different things with, and kind of the accepted understanding for what you are supposed to do is just always use one of those special actions on that speed buff, especially at the
Mm.
start of a fight.
Yes, it meant that if you're playing Ninja at high level, you do a lot of re-popping abilities before you even start the fight.
You know.
It's kind of absurd. They've cut out that gauge and just made it a passive ability. You were just passively faster.
Yep.
That sounds so much easier.
It's I've seen pretty much every person who plays Ninja has praised this, and it's like finally it's gone. It's gone. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. With with more and more stuff getting added on top of classes over time, the fat needs to be trimmed. That's just kind of a thing that has to happen. There's no way around that.
Worth other things worth mentioning as well. Um, a lot of the classes are getting new abilities. Some are getting larger reworks than others.
Monk.
Monk has gotten the ability to overflow on its. It uses this thing called chakra, and you get a chakra every time you crit, and you can use your chakra for special abilities and stuff. Previously, they capped at 5, and they could not like overstack or overflow. So get wrecked, I guess. Have to alter your entire rotation now to spend it before you waste it. They can now overcap,
Oh, good. Considering the entire class is built around that, it feels weird that they're capped at 5.
and they finally got ranged attacks. So they can actually they're not useless if they have to leave melee range from the boss for whatever reason,
Yep.
which is nice. In general, a lot of the classes changes seem really good. I've seen some people being rather upset with Summoner because it basically just got a glowy Bahamut as the new summon. You already had normal Bahamut, now have Solar Bahamut. People were wanting other summons to show up rather than just another Bahamut.
I mean, not sure what they could. I mean, they've got what is it, Titan?
People wanted Alexander specifically
Huh.
was one of the ones that they were wanting. But some big something really interesting. So there's a class in the game called Astrologian. Astrologian is a tarot card reading class that uses its previous build before this update is one in which you randomly draw a card. depending on what card you have, it may have a buff could apply to any one of the different roles in your party. You then have to figure out which card it is, go switch over, apply it to that role, apply it to that character, and then pick up the next random card later, right?
Yeah, when I heard about how Astrologian actually worked, my immediate thought was this does not work in like Savage or Ultimate raids.
It is tough. As I've played a bit of it, and it is not great. It really needed a rework. So they reworked it so that you draw 3 cards all at once, an offense, a defense, and like a healing card, and you can just use them in any order, and that's it. It's no RNG. You just do your job.
Which, on the one hand, like, the one criticism I've heard of all the reworks is they're just kind of standardizing all the classes a little bit. On the other hand, fucking RNG in how your class works sounds like the worst thing ever.
Yeah. It's pretty rough, especially because you can get multiple of the same card or the same card for the same role, and then you can like, oh well, I guess I'm putting this suboptimally on somebody who doesn't really need this card, that sort of thing. And also rather interesting, they showed Viper and Pictomancer and a little bit about how they work. Those are the 2 new jobs coming in Dawn Trail, which is coming out like next month. Late next month, technically, for early access. But the Viper class looks super, super fun. It's super fast. You use 2 swords. You go into a bursty mode and go super swing, 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 fast, fast. I like it. It's a scouting class, so it has the same gear as Ninja. So I just can use my same Ninja gear, just need a new weapon, and I'm good. Which is nice. I don't want to play Ninja anymore. As much as I've
Rework
grown
makes it
attached
nicer,
to it over
but
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a lot, even with the rework.
Yeah.
I have it down, like, I understand Ninja. I have that, like, in my bones, but I started playing as a rogue, and I turned into a ninja.
Yeah.
I want to go back to my days at the Thieves Guild. I want to play a rogue. I like having moves that have names that are not just a bunch of Japanese. Thank you.
I miss you, Jacques. You were cool.
Yeah. I think he actually comes back in one
He
of the later
does.
job quests, yeah. But that looks good. Pictomancer looks really fun. You pre-paint various things and then use them to attack your enemies. Like you can paint a hammer and then hit them with a giant cartoonishly big hammer. Their whole thing is drawing pictures and then those pictures attack. It's if you ever played Kirby and the Crystal Shards, they're like I think it was Madeline from that game. What was her name?
Adeline.
Adeline, thank you. I'm not really good with names, but I can remember that character. So, they're also updating. I'm going on about this for a while, but they're updating a lot of the class passives. So stuff like, oh hey, this second wind that heals you a bit now heals more. This faint ability, which lasts for 10 seconds and gives damage reduction, is going to last from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. And all the passives that people rely on for hard content are getting upgraded. People are now feeling like they are going to up the difficulty even more with Dawn Trail to a degree that might be rather scary and take a lot of getting used to. So we'll see. Because already the really high difficulty fights they demand perfection presently.
Yeah.
But I think there's one friend was telling me about the last Savage has a mechanic where if you take more than 2 steps during it, you wipe the party. So you have to move, but you can only move slightly, or else you wipe the party. And doing that with 7 other people can be frustrating, I imagine.
Well,
So
I mean, on some level, it will be slightly. Like the balancing will be different now, with a lot of the classes being reworked to be slightly easier to play, with less maintenance involved in doing a bunch of bullshit to make sure you're doing the optimal thing.
The, the trade-off is this. When the difficulty of playing your class goes down, the difficulty in the fight design goes up. That's how it's typically sort of balanced. So to compensate for the fact that it's now easier to play the class, we now have to deal with more mechanics at once because we don't have to use as much brain cell to be doing our optimal damage and stuff like that. So it all balances out in the end. But yeah, no, Dawn Trail looks really good. They showed an updated. They had a benchmark a while back which showed what your characters might look like in the updated thing. And then they realized that they revealed that they had not been using the updated lighting engine in that benchmark.
Whoops.
So with the updated lighting engine and with more modifications, the characters now look way better. I think I have a visual, but um, well, let me see if I can find the. I'll look for the image for you guys, but all right, here we go. So if you just type in like Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail benchmark live letter into Google, you can see this. But when the additional lighting engine and other things working, the game looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, by
So-
MMO standards, let's be real.
Yeah,
This thing originally launched on the PS3, so
Yeah.
that's
like
a
this-
hell of a step up.
yeah. So they've been gradually upgrading the graphics, and this is going to be just probably the last big leap for a while. Because when you update all the graphics and everybody's system requirements go up, everybody needs to worry about, can my computer still run this? That sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which obviously I got a new computer, partially because I was concerned about this, and partially because my old computer was crappy doo-doo. So
I mean, you also have a PS5, so
I have a PS5. I can play on PS5. Playing on PS5 and being in voice chat at the same time can be a bit more difficult. I mean, I can, I guess, use my phone, but I have to rely on my phone battery, and
That's pretty rough. Yeah.
it just gets more of a pain to manage. That being said, also with PS5, you can't. I can't suddenly bring up my mouse if I want to go over and into the chat and type something. You know,
yeah.
kind of the one benefit of having it on computers. I can type messages in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to type on a PS5 controller is not great.
It's just not worth it. Like,
Yeah.
unless you want to say like, bye, hey guys, I had a great time, I gotta go, some kind of message like that.
Well, I think that's all I got to talk about in regards to Final Fantasy 14. Just because it's been a
And
while since we've last.
everyone else breathes a hearty sigh of relief.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But
That's cool.
I have been playing some games. Did I mention I beat Hi-Fi Rush? I think I did.
I don't think so.
I know you mentioned playing it. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I beat Hi-Fi Rush. That is a fantastic game. I love that game.
Yep.
And I still like every time I play it, I just start. Anytime I play a game after playing it, I'm tapping my buttons to the rhythm. It's rather addictive.
It's one of the games that feels great to be great at.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a rhythm gamer at heart, so it made me really happy. It was very satisfying.
Yeah. Did you try the extra stuff?
I have tried some of the extra stuff. I haven't gone into getting all of the like extra doors after the game.
Yeah, that's a neat little extra challenge thing.
But I've done a little bit of some of the extra stuff, and it's been fun. I'm probably gonna get back into it a little bit later.
Fuck you,
But I-
Microsoft.
Yeah.
no, that's. I also decided to give a new game a shot. You may have heard of it. This game was touted as the Genshin killer, Wuthering Waves.
Yeah, the Genshin killer in terms of it's just fucking Genshin again and expecting to take over the market that has already been taken over by Genshin. No.
And people gotta stop claiming games are blank killers. It never works.
At the very least, stop claiming it's blank killer by doing the exact same thing as blank. That's not how the market works. If you're just doing the
So-
same thing, you're not going to replace the original if they're already
Usually-
established.
Usually worse or with less content too.
So, to give my take on it, because I have completed the currently released story for Withering Waves.
Okay.
So I think I'm able to give a full sort of overview of this. Gameplay wise, this is a very, very fun game to play. You have a perfect dodge. The combat feels just really good and fluid. Also, monsters and bosses that you defeat, you can then gain their echo, which you can summon in battle as extra attacks, which is super cool. So, like on a cooldown, I can turn into that one boss monster and do a super cool move and stuff like that. So, on a gameplay level, I really enjoy playing this game. It's really fun. They have a very a very big theme around sound, which is kind of funny considering that the music in the game is probably the most forgettable. I'm just not a big fan of the music and the sound design in it, especially when it sounds exactly like Genshin at points with certain sound effects. As for the story, boy,
That was a damning silence.
that was a story.
Okay.
Tell me if you've heard. Tell
I-
me if you've heard this one before.
Okay.
Main character wakes up in the middle of nowhere, found by a couple curious individuals. Main character has no memory.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's the start of the game. Is you see a cutscene with no context that doesn't make any sense, and then
Yeah.
you're woken up with no memory, and they decide to call you Rover.
Huh.
Couldn't do Traveler again.
No, couldn't do Traveler. Or even Wanderer.
Wanderers,
Withering Waves.
A
Wanderer.
W would have worked, yeah, but, Fallout, Lone Wanderer.
Okay,
It's
you're
not
the
a
Rover.
strong a claim, but it's a claim.
Your character is the Rover.
Ruff.
Yep, that's what I was thinking the entire time. And my recommendation for anybody that plays this game, switch off the English voice acting immediately.
Oh, it's
It's
bad.
really bad.
It is so bad.
What were your thoughts on Genshin's voice acting?
I don't remember most of it, to be honest. But I don't remember it being outright terrible. Other than,
Other than
Paimon being annoying. But they have, the high energy tomboyish character whose English VA sounds like she's trying to keep her voice down and not wake up her neighbors next door. And then you have the soft, gentle woman who speaks very like this. And Rover, it's going to be all right. I'm never going to put any other emotions into my voice. And those two characters are your main companions.
Oh. Is your main character at least very loud?
Nope.
So someone has some bombacity?
Nope.
Oh, that's
Come on,
rough.
this is a Genshin clone. They're gonna have like one line per expansion. That was literally it for fucking Genshin. I think your first line is the last line of the Mondstadt story.
I will say your main character has more lines than that.
Okay, so
They
they
have-
talk sometimes.
A significant portion of lines, but so when that's your introduction with the English voice acting, and then on top of that, they are throwing new term after new term after new term after new term after new. There's a part in the beginning where you're just standing in a circle with three other people, just talking about stuff, and this is at the very beginning of the game.
Just jargon.
Just talking about tacit fields and resonance and tacit discords and so on and so forth.
Don't click on links for tacit discords. They're it's a scam.
usually
That's what the
is.
monsters are called, tacit discords.
The what?
The monsters you fight, they're called tacit discords.
No one's going to call them that.
They're called TDs for short.
No one's going to call them that either. You know what they're going to call them?
What?
Monsters?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably, or whatever shorthand they look like.
It is basically I was watching somebody else play it and they're like, okay, now I'm just completely lost because they just kept talking to me and there's no log to look back at the text they just said. I'm like, yep, there's no log.
In
can't go-
fairness, you are basically describing my experience with Honkai Star Rail.
At least Honkai Star Rail had a log.
I guess.
Though I will say, it was just the pacing of the exposition dumping, because it's exposition dump, a little bit of combat, first boss sort of, exposition dump, get to the main city, exposition dump, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. They
That's
didn't give
rough.
you a lot of real breathing room in the pacing. And I think part of this is because they had to rewrite the story after the second closed beta testing because people complained about how awful it was. So we get the rush job.
Mm.
This won't be the last one trying to do Genshin again. Hell,
No,
it's not the
considering how
first
much
one
money-
trying to do Genshin again, let's be real.
Not to
Yeah.
mention, every character treats you as if you're God's gift to mankind.
Oh,
I mean, if I did see that opening cutscene, you basically literally are.
You're the super special boy.
Or girl.
Oh, girl. You're the super special boy, girl.
Yeah.
And
Just like in Honkai Star Rail, just like in Genshin, just like in...
okay, in fairness for Honkai Star Rail, you are on a train full of other people who also have serious main character syndrome, with like their whole huge stories, and so it kind of balances out like that because everybody on that train is special. They all have their own stories. March was found floating in ice with no memories. Don Hung has a whole huge, gigantic backstory that gets explored in one of the later arcs.
He's like
Weltz
a
has
dragon or something.
Weltz, no, it's a big thing. Weltz is from Honkai Impact 3rd and has his own comic book. Like, you know, everybody there's pretty big deal.
And the cat's got a train, I guess. That's a pretty big deal.
Funny.
Whatever.
But point being, it's pretty aggressively forward about praising your character, and then not to mention there were numerous issues at launch. The game didn't work for mobile users; it just straight up crashed constantly.
great.
And also, there are issues where voice lines don't match the text, as in the text is completely out of order and from the voice line order in terms of some things. Sometimes the text just doesn't even fit all in the box. You just don't see all the text that somebody's saying. A lot of issues. So they're just throwing away as many free polls and 5 stars as they can because they still want to be the Genshin killer, I guess. The story eventually does get going, and I'm like, yeah, no, okay, I'm kind of into this now. But it took a long time. By the time I was like, man, I'm enjoying this, I was near the end. I had like 2 hours left.
Oh, that's rough.
It's like, again,
How long were you playing, like total?
I'd have to check, but it was over the course of like a couple days. So I'd say like modestly like 8 to 10 hours.
Ooh.
So it was yeah.
Would it be fair to say
mean-
they rushed it out? Because that sounds like they rushed it out. Holy shit.
Yeah, they did rush it out. It totally feels like they rushed it out. Which is funny because before it released, Genshin rushed out a quality of life patch and update with things people were asking for, because competition's now here.
Yeah.
I mean, sure,
Yeah.
let's call it that.
People are viewing it as competition, so I mean, they're aware of the perception. And I mean, the exploration is fine because you have a grappling hook which can attach to grapple points, and that's kind of fun. And there's like different mini games you can do out in the world, so the exploration is pretty okay. And I like some of the side quests. Um, but that main story, by the way, I switched over to the JP voice acting, and immediately there was a meteoric rise in voice quality in terms of the voice acting and the expressiveness of the characters.
What,
Well,
nobody's trying to not wake their neighbors or get evicted?
Yeah, yeah. And
let's call it by your perception in terms of we don't actually know whether it's good voice acting or not. It's expressive at least, and that is probably a positive.
it is more expressive, more varied in tone, and made the characters feel more lively, more alive than they were before. Which makes me think it was like a direction issue with the English VAs. I don't know what that was happening in that studio.
Or
'Cause they're-
maybe hiring amateurs.
Maybe because there's some moments of blatantly like characters emphasizing the wrong words, when they're talking.
Putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah, it's so
I don't
I
know
switched.
any of these names.
Yeah.
I'm gonna IMDb a couple of them and see whether they're just voice actors of the new generation that I just don't know yet. So bear with me, but yeah.
I don't know. I want to say I've seen enough anime and played enough dubbed games and such that I would recognize bad voice acting, even in Japanese, but I don't really know.
Would
Okay. Do you remember what main sidekicks' names are?
Chisha and Yang Yang.
Yang Yang. Okay. I'll go with that one.
Yang Yang being the gentle girl that never changed their tone.
They have a few things. They have been working since 2021. Lot of just voice in brackets. Of
So,
their
like,
about
probably-
15 credits, it looks like.
Probably background characters or something.
Oh no, wait, there was a bigger list.
Mm.
Yeah, she's not an amateur, but definitely not anyone that gets a lot of work.
Mm.
Yeah, this is a lot of stuff that I've barely heard of, and then Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they were in Foam Stars, that great Square Enix title that everyone loved.
Yeah. Almost.
Everyone knows what that is. No one knows what that is. It was the Splatoon ripoff that everyone called
okay.
the Splatoon ripoff.
Thank you for clarifying, because I actually did not know.
Yeah, it's foam instead of paint, so it's sort of like that club aesthetic.
Ah.
You know, that
And,
thing you maybe went to at university once and then decided, wow, this sucks, I never want to do this again.
That
Similarly,
sounds accurate.
Chisha's VA did voices in Peppa Pig and Assassin's Creed Valhalla as a brackets voice.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't pull anyone with notoriety of any kind.
Whereas I think one of the characters, I'm not sure which Chisha, was Nito Chris JPVA from FGO. So like they pulled some people on the other side, but
This might
Yeah.
be a side effect of, like, Japan have a fucking enormous number of voice actors just out there doing work. In the West, less so. Like that's kind of a thing, especially for like dubbing projects of foreign properties.
and I imagine
You have your
Genshin.
like, let's say 24 relatively big names, and then
yeah.
people who barely get work because people only hire the 24 big names.
And I imagine that Genshin has a lot of VAs because obviously, and they might not
they
have
have-
wanted to go for people that Genshin's already employed. So
Yeah, they have recognizable names on there. Like, there is a character voiced by Ryuji from Persona 5. There is shit, I don't know his actual name, or couldn't point you to any of his roles, but you've heard his voice in dozens of fucking things for the like erudite, fancy lad kind of guy
Mhm.
with the buttery smooth voice.
Point is, they got people.
Yeah, they did not pick nobodies. They picked people who knew what they were doing, either professionally or in enthusiast circles, so had experience doing like fan projects and stuff like that.
Hmm. So, I guess my experience with Withering Waves was, man, I don't really care about most of these characters. I don't care about this story. I don't care. I don't care. Ooh, I just met two characters I care about. Oh, hey, the story's picking up. Oh, it's over. Basically.
Mm.
Oh, that's a shame.
And as having played Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I was hoping that I could just get a vehicle to make traveling through the world a little bit easier. That would be nice. Just
Yeah,
just a
no, see,
vehicle.
they're not copying that one, they're copying the one before it. Well, they're copying the thing that copied the one before it, so, you know.
Just give me a horse, you know? Just anything,
Okay, yeah,
please.
they could do that, or they could not do that and not have to animate horses.
You oh, I just want to be able to not have like the slowest sprint in the world. Oh,
Is it balanced for the gameplay that isn't travel based? The sprint speed, I mean.
the when you're I mean, yeah,
I'm going to
I
take a
guess.
stab in the dark. When you're in combat, you can't sprint.
You can sprint when you're in combat.
Oh, okay.
And you can also expend stamina to do the button you use to sprint is also your dodge button to perfect dodge attacks and completely nullify all damage.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. This game needed a lot more time in the oven. Probably needed another rewrite or two. From my understanding, one of the original intros was instead of immediately being accepting of you and love it on you, the two people who first find you are suspicious of you.
Like, people would actually be, you know.
Yeah, so they changed that from because people complained, I guess.
Yeah,
Hmm.
well, there are tones that can be set in, let's be real, mobile gacha games. And if you go with the immediate suspicion and treating you with, like, kid gloves, then you are leaning towards the everything sucks and this world is going to set everything up to be perfectly miserable so that you feel sorry for all the characters involved all of the time and they only exist for you to feel sorry for them except for the times when you are staring at their tits and or ass. And often actually when you're doing that too.
From the, it's just it feels like a missed opportunity to develop a relationship between these characters rather than just saying, "Boom, it's there.
You
It's
know.
not gonna change."
Yeah, but to do that they have to actually do that, and that's writing time and implementation time and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what you gonna do?
Yeah, that
I
might
just
actually
Play,
be the
play a
reason.
better game.
It might not even be that it was a rewrite because people complained. It might be a rewrite because hey, we don't have time to like actually develop relationships. We have to rush this out in like 3 months. So they just love you now. That's the story.
Hmm.
Could be.
So, my
He
my sort of end verdict on that is combat's okay. I like the combat. I don't care about the world and the characters that much or at all. I'm probably going to drop off this game and then not pick it up until I see an advertisement with a character I like, then log on, roll for it, and then not play the game again.
or you could just not play the game again at all. It's also an option.
Yeah, but I know myself.
Dude, Dawn Trail comes out next month ish. You will have better things to do.
You're right, actually. With Dawn Trail coming out, I will be having better things to do because I will be. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna play a lot of Dawn Trail.
Also,
Um,
Elden Ring DLC, which means I finally get to play Elden Ring.
Yeah, I have been. I've been holding off because I didn't want to play it before that came out.
Yeah,
Um,
I wanted the full experience, so I'm waiting.
okay. I have a save file that I think is still decently far enough in to just jump right into the DLC.
Yeah. If memory serves, I played that game for approximately 3 minutes, got my ass kicked by the boss, and then was in a cave, and I'm like, cool. And then I stopped playing because I want to wait for the DLC. It looked neat though. Looked neat.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Apparently, they
Um,
have implemented things that so you can jump into it sooner. Your
okay.
power is based on like in DLC upgrades.
Oh, very nice.
I think
'Cause
that was a long time.
I had a new game plus file like set aside, so I might just I also have a I think I still have a new game file, but we'll see. Um, I own Elden Ring on both PC and PS5, just so I can play with more people.
That's fair.
So yeah, me and Casey could parallel play it, and you could, and you as well, Slicer. If I just start a new file on like a PC or something.
I have to see if I can afford the game. Unfortunately,
Ah, mm,
I believe I have it on PS4, but it's been a while.
okay. Um,
Maybe on PS4, PS5, because I know there for a while if you bought digital, you'd get both.
The only other thing that stands out in my mind that I want to talk about right now, I guess, is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door has its remake just released. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It's my favorite game.
Okay.
I'll need to play it at some point myself. Never got to play the original.
Oh, then you're in for a treat.
Yeah, I'd figure.
Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is, for those who don't know, the second Paper Mario game. Came out after the original. It's an RPG where you use your main character Mario and various partners, equip badges to customize your gameplay style, and so on and so forth. Um, Paper Mario is a series that has long lost its way, but we're
Yeah.
back now, baby. We're back.
All it
Uh,
took was the deleting of 80% of the games in the entry.
Listen, I mean, we had Sticker Star, which was absolute garbage trash fire, like one of the worst experiences you could ever have. We had Color Splash, which is still bad. It's colorful, but bad. We had Origami King, which is fine, but it's not an RPG in the same way at all, in any regard. I don't understand what type of gameplay that game is, but it sure is a game.
It sure exists.
And after those plus Super Hero Mario, which Super Hero Mario was good, but it also did away with turn-based. Um, Meanwhile, like Sticker Star, Colored Splash, Origami King did away with levels. You know, the role-playing aspect.
I don't like that. I want that.
Yeah. So if you defeat enemies in battle, you know what you got? Coins. That's it.
Oh.
And also Sticker Star had all of the attacks be consumables.
Oh.
You
That
would
I
have,
don't
yep,
like that.
yep. So you would actually lose more by engaging in battle than going in, like than anything else.
That never works well. God, I hate seeing that in games where combat is like, there's no point. The ideal way to play is to never fight anything, and that's a very
Exactly.
specific genre. But like, this ain't it.
And that same system carried over to Color Splash, and then Origami King did an entirely new system, which was weird, but it's fine. But now we're back. Thousand Year Door, turn-based, customizable gameplay with equipping of badges to get special moves and change how your characters are built. And it's a real RPG. Fun. It's good. They are adding quality of life changes, additional super bosses. It's great. I love it. They redid the entire soundtrack. They also have an option to switch to the original GameCube soundtrack if you want that. Um, and oh my gosh, the graphics, it looks beautiful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. I'm very happy
That's,
about
I mean,
that.
fair. Yeah, I'm glad it satisfies.
All right, I'm done rambling. If anybody else wants to ramble.
Patient, how's it going?
Well, it's been an interesting time for me. Yesterday was my 31st birthday.
Yay, happy birthday.
Hmm, thanks. So I received some very nice presents, including. Pardon?
Sorry, I was coughing.
Hmm. I I received some very nice presents, including Super Mario Bros. Wonder and the Mario and Rabbids game. So,
Yeah.
those should be fun. Turning 31 also means that I no longer qualify in my church's eyes as a young single adult, so I'll be moving to a different ward for the first time since joining the church. That'll be an interesting experience. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, okay.
Very little idea what that means.
Yeah,
Same.
it just means less being surrounded by people 18 to 30 and more being surrounded by people of all ages.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Don't know exactly when I'll be changing, but it's something that I should be looking into post haste now that I'm 31. So we'll see where that goes. Aside from that, the job search continues.
Yeah.
It's draining. It's
Mhm.
really quite draining. I'm doing what I can, and I have nothing but support from those around me. So we'll take care of it soon enough.
It's kind of strange that the cutoff is 31 and not 30. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I haven't had much reason to look into it until now, obviously.
18 to 30 is pretty much a demographic bracket, kind of. It makes some amount of sense.
So, but yeah, there really hasn't been much going on aside from what I've said already. So,
Yeah. So I had a LARPing event last weekend, so that was cool.
Yeah.
I actually stayed in a cabin for the first time, as
Okay.
opposed to a tent.
All
That
right.
was nice. So yeah, just fought with I think we had 158 people that came to it. Granted, 35, 40 of them were non-combatants, so it wasn't that many people on the field at all times, but very nice. First time I've been out in a while, so man, I got tired fast. I'm so out of shape.
Fair warning, dogs are barking outside, which makes me think the police have finally arrived.
Gotcha. Yeah, if you need to duck out, by all means, please do.
Yeah, just letting you know. Anyway.
So yeah, I definitely need new weapons because I brought 3 weapons with me. One failed testing. The second one broke after 30 seconds of fighting with it, and then the last one is something I don't like using. So it did kind of dampen my enjoyment of the event a little bit. It didn't ruin my elbow though. The reason I don't like that third one is because it hurts to use for long periods. It's not weighted right, so it's a long. It's like the longest one-handed weapon you can have within the rule set before it becomes a two-handed weapon. And usually you want long weapons to be weighted in the handle so you don't feel it as much, as opposed to whipping around essentially a brick on a stick. And so yeah, that can ruin your elbow real fast. Mine is weighted somewhere a little below the middle, so it's not the worst, but you start to feel it after a while. But yeah, can't really think of anything else. Oh, right. The event name was the Roaring 20s, RAWR, because this was supposed to happen in 2020, but COVID. So we kind of made up for that, and the last night of the event ended with a big rave in one of the cabins. So that was the larger cabins, yeah. So that was quite fun. It was an interesting experience. I've never been to a rave before, or a nightclub, or anything like that. And this is just a bunch of nerds still covered in body paint and dancing badly and having a great time. But let's see. I don't think I've really watched anything. I watched a lot of YouTube, so that's what I'm filling that time with. I have started playing Helldivers, so that's really fun. I have mostly been doing automaton stuff. I enjoy that a lot more. It took a while to get used to the aiming. The aiming is kind of loose and fluid. Like you have crosshairs, but there's a circle that if you move, it bounces around the screen, or at least within your crosshairs. And you actually aim with that circle. So it just takes some getting used to. And I'm using a controller because my coordination on the keyboard and the mouse is ass. So it just works better for me. I also found you can't use stratagems while running with a keyboard and mouse, which is a weird limitation. So that's actually one avenue where the controller is better, because you just you can run and bring up the stratagem menu with left bumper, and then hammer out the buttons with like your right thumb moved over to the D-pad, and it just works better that way. It's nice. I'm trying desperately to enjoy the bug missions, the Terminids, but legally distinct. Crap. I forget the bugs from Warhammer. I can't believe it.
I mean, you could also say the bugs from Defense Force, or the bugs from StarCraft, or the bugs from XCOM.
No, no, they're just the Warhammer bugs. They look exactly like them.
Okay.
Having fought them on the tabletop a couple times now, yeah, it's pretty 1-to-1. Uh, which makes me afraid to play higher difficulty missions fighting Terminids because boy, they get scary. But yeah, the bugs are more of a swarm style gameplay where there's 1,000 enemies around you, but they're all mostly weaker enemies. You can just one shot, but there's also 40 of them. With bots, it's like I don't know, squads of like 15 infantry and then 1 or 2 heavy units in each patrol that you run across. At least in the difficulties that I've been doing so far. So, but yeah, I don't know if anyone else has played Helldivers, but it's quite fun.
I have not.
I've been interested in it. I have not gotten it yet, though.
I'd recommend it. I mean, the player base has been devastated by the still 170 countries that can't play the game, or at least can't buy new copies of the game.
And
But,
everyone that just had a mass exodus from the game because, hey, thanks Sony, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, a lot of people did come back. They did leave negative reviews and such with the full intention of reversing them and coming back when things were reversed, if they were, and they mostly were. So that's good. The first when I joined, people were still trickling back essentially, and in game you get things called major orders, which are like a once a week quest that you got to do a thing. So the current one that just ended was if we liberate a certain planet, it was an automaton one this time, you get access to a mech that has double autocannons. And it's a lot of fun because you just get that stratagem for free instead of needing to like fill one of your 4 stratagems you can take with you with it. And it makes lower difficulty missions easy. You just blast through everything. It's so fun. But the first couple major orders, which is what those are, failed because we just didn't. There weren't enough players. They weren't calibrated for a lower player count yet. So they have fixed that a little bit. It is now actually possible to do the major orders that they give us. So yeah, I think that's my week. Can't think of anything else that I'm going to Georgia in a few weeks, so that's cool.
Hey, nice.
Are you looking for a soul to steal?
No, I think I would probably lose an eye playing a fiddle because I would snap a string.
That is a thing that happens.
I just remembered. I also went on a trip. It was just a while ago, so I forgot.
It's been a bit.
I went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Woo! I think you did mention. Oh wait, no, you mentioned that in the text of the chat.
Yeah. So my baby nephew, my sister, my parents, me, and we went with my brother down there. We all went to Disneyland. And we got to have the experience of bringing a 6-month-old to Disneyland.
Ooh.
That feels like a mistake on every level.
So we took 2 cars to drive the 8 hours down to Southern California.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
I was in the car with my dad. My mom and my sister were in the car with the baby. And every now and then they'd call us just to confirm directions, and I just hear the baby crying in the background and screaming his head off, and I'm like, dodged a bullet! Dodged a bullet with that one! My dad was trying to persuade my mom to not go through with this because my mom has an injured leg, so she's in a wheelchair right now.
Oh, gee, this is just a bad idea on all fronts. What the
Agreed.
She can walk, but she can't walk for, she's not supposed to be walking around too much. She is supposed to rest her legs as much as possible.
Look, I have no doubt that Disney World is very accessible, but that's a lot.
So we had 6-month-old plus mom in a wheelchair going to Disneyland. And the entire drive up there was rather hard on everyone. We had a good amount of time at Disneyland. We had to do the whole baby swap where um, some people stay behind to watch over the baby, and then you come back. You pass the baby over, and then the people who are waiting can then just skip to the front of the line to go on the ride. That's a thing that you can do.
Huh.
So we did that for some of the rides, but about like it was like near dinner time, like 5 o'clock ish, and I completely was just dead tired. My feet were hurting. I was just my back was giving me my lower back was giving me a lot of pain. So I was walking like 10 miles in a day, and I had not been walking that much as of recently. So
Zeros in is 30. Zeros in is 30.
I'm 29 still. Shut up. So I went with my sister and the baby back to the hotel room. I had my own hotel room because my brother was sharing with my brother, and he was not going to be staying the second night. And I just passed out on the bed for 14 hours straight. And so, sunburned, tired, exhausted. I went on a few rides, had a good time. Don't remember much of the later half of that day, for obvious reasons.
Understandable.
Then we had to drive 8 hours back, which turned into 9 hours because of traffic. Was it worth it? I don't know. The baby had a nice time, kind of.
Kind of.
He,
As
he
much
met
as a
R.
baby can have.
He met R2D2 and pogged off.
Okay.
He was like very excited to see the little Avengers show by the Avengers thing that they have now in California Adventure. For those who don't know, part of the reason why I'm able to get into Disney, I've been to Disney quite a few times, and part of that is because I have a family member who has been working for Disney for a very long time. I think great grandaunt, or grandaunt. I'm not sure that it's weird. But she'll sometimes give us free park hopper passes.
Oh, cool.
So that we can head down there to go to California Adventure and Disneyland. But by the time we got to California Adventure, I was just spent. I was like, I would like to do the fun roller coaster, but I feel like death right now. I want to go lay down in a coffin. So that was my Disneyland trip. It was fun, I guess. Sort of, maybe, kind of. What? I don't want to go again. I don't want to go again. I think I'm done for now, for a long time. Hopefully, next time I go to a theme park, I want it to not be Disneyland. Thank you very much. That's it. That's all I wanted to add.
Okay.
That's fair. I did actually start. A friend of mine is really into Monster High. She started watching that when she was a kid, and has just been a big fan ever since. So we've been binge watching it when we have free time. And I discovered another company that are just complete fucking shitbags. Monster High dolls are a nightmare to collect, and hearing her rants about it for actual hours is very delightful in its own way. But man, it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. It's another one of those things, like, if you miss out on the drop that lasts 3 minutes, by the way, before they're sold out, you get to pay 400% minimum.
That is nasty.
Yeah, not great. So yeah, I think that's mine. Casey, are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I wasn't sure if you'd been called away or not.
If someone knocks on my door, you'll bloody hear it.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I mentioned I'd been back and forth to my mum's for the past couple of weeks. As a result of that, I have watched the Fallout show.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy it?
It's very good, my mom tried to be very patient with me when I marked out on certain things that happened in the show.
Yeah, I still need to see the last 2 episodes, but it is very good.
Yeah, those last two are very important. Definitely. Yeah.
Just haven't been able to get everybody together to watch it.
Just
But
constant, oh my god, oh, I get that. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Your context for this is not great, but I know slightly more. Oh boy, this is happening. This is a thing. I know what this is. Multiple times I was actually wrong about that, by the way. Just
me
always-
with my parents. That's a ghoul. Look, there's ghouls. Dad, you like zombies? They're kind of almost like that.
Yeah, they go feral. They're basically zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very good show, and I recommend it, even though Bethesda and Microsoft above them are pieces of shit. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let that go, by the way. Just ever. Like, wow. I am actually amazed at how angry I am on behalf of a company that does not give a shit about me, except for how I paid them $30 for their game that was excellent. Like,
You mean the Hi-Fi Rush cancellation as well
Yep.
as the other studios? Yeah,
Yep.
that's fair.
Yeah.
like,
I've just like there was the temptation to go play Fallout again, but I just can't make myself do that right now.
oh, they also broke Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yup.
'Cause, gotta
Thanks
capitalize on that whole thing with a new update that none of the people that watch the show are actually going to care about, and we're just going to play the game anyway.
Just casual reminder that Fallout 4, both of my save files got bugs that basically ruined the entirety of that save file forever.
Oh boy. When the patch came out?
Before the patch came out, back when I was first playing it.
Even worse.
I had one bug that completely destroyed all voice audio in the game.
What?
All characters were muted, no matter what I did.
How? Why?
And I believe I was also trapped in place.
How do they not catch these things?
I'm just going to be right back. So, vamp.
All right.
If you want.
Yeah, but I got soft locked a few times.
I mean, I think the major problem with a lot of the bugs like that is like, do you even know how you triggered it?
And then you'll go back to an old save. It's like, wait, the bug is still here. How does that work?
Yeah.
How does?
Their games are so broken. It's really, really like there's that one. The Chalky just put out a song called "It Just Works." The Bethesda song. Every now and then it comes up on my recommended, and I listen to it. I'm like, that's why I don't play their games anymore.
Yeah.
We'll just have the players fix it for us with their mods, and then break their mods that fix the game that's broken. This is a sustainable ecosystem here. Yeah, no, it's
my that patch broke all of the mods that I had installed, and I had a collection of them. There was like 756 mods.
And the thing that sucks is a lot of those mod makers are not going to go back and fix their mods.
No, a lot of them were abandoned and very honest about it. So I appreciate that at least.
Yeah, like you actually ruined a lot of the additional reason for owning your game.
Yeah.
And was the patch even worth it? Is the question. And the answer is no.
It makes it look slightly better.
It also introduced a lot of new bugs that were already fixed by the official patches, not even like unofficial stuff.
But of course, the unofficial patch is broken too.
Oh, of course.
Sorry about that. I just had to, I'm kind of paranoid about this because, I said it's in the drain. What I mean by that is it's in my drain. As in, I'm a little, unsettled about using water at the moment because of that whole thing. Yeah. Bathroom drain as well, by the way. So.
Oh dear.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure the toilet doesn't go down into the outside drain. Just as an understanding, it would probably smell much worse if that was the case. So, probably still use the toilet.
Yeah.
Of course, if I'm wrong about that, that becomes very awkward very quickly. But, well, whatever. Yeah, so Fallout's pretty good. The show is pretty good. Fuck Bethesda. Fuck Microsoft. They might be added onto the list of the blacklist of just companies I don't deal with anymore.
I still
He's
think
got them
of
on the list, and they'll none of them be missed. They'll none of them be missed.
I still think of that. It was a best friends bit of somebody sent in a letter of at least I have the 3 game companies, the 3 Bs that won't betray me: Bethesda, BioWare, and Blizzard.
Yeah, and they're all kind of nope. Like, EA are on the list. Ubisoft are on the list. Now Microsoft are on the list, which means by default, BioWare, Bethesda, and Blizzard are all on the list.
Yeah.
Cool. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
In better video
And
games news, sorry.
And 'tis a pity that
AAA sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have that Senua's Sacrifice. Oh, no, Senua's something.
I'm pretty sure it's Sacrifice, yeah.
Is it Sacrifice?
Yeah.
The new one?
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually don't know about the new one. I know the first one is called that. I think the second one is just Senua's Sacrifice 2.
Hold on. I've not been paying attention to
one of them
AAA
was
games.
Senua's Saga or something, I think.
There's Senua's Sacrifice, then Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
There we go, yeah. It's like 5 hours long, apparently. Cool. That's Ninja Theory for you.
Okay.
$6.
Oh, full price for a 5-hour. That's not, no.
It's emotional, though. Don't you
Yeah,
know?
it's, moving, great video game storytelling. I don't know. That's, Ninja Theory are probably never going to be looked down on as good in my eyes for a probably unfair reason. DMC is just going to stick in my brain forever. Probably not their fault, but it's just, that's how it goes. And then they did Heavenly Sword, which was basically this Senua game only 10, 15 years ago. So, oh well.
I feel like a lot of AAA games have kind of lost the where they're supposed to be going.
That's kind of the funny thing about Senua, though, is that it was indie. Like, the first game was an indie game, but they made it look like it was AAA. I think they called it A or AA game or something like that, marketing buzzwords. And now it's a AAA game, and who gives a shit? Like, they're a subsidiary of a gigantic corporation, and now they don't have the underdog story to push them or the indie mindset to push them, so fuck them.
I feel like a lot of those big major games forget that the fact that they're games, like these are meant to be fun games that you play.
At the very least, interactive experiences by some measure.
Yes. My understanding of Hellblade 2 is it is mostly cutscene.
Yeah.
Very little relative actually doing things. So, like, oh, cool graphics, cool technical showcase and story. It's a movie. It's a movie.
Halfway between movie and tech demo. Cool.
Yeah.
I had a strong feeling that it was going to be mostly puzzle fights, where it's not really a fight you're supposed to win, or you're supposed to do it in a very specific way, or whatever.
All the positive stuff I've seen about it is just, wow, it looks amazing. Which is nice, I guess.
A flower pot looks amazing.
Just a pot with flowers in it? I mean, in fairness, good clay work. It's not
Yeah, solid point.
kiln fired,
So you see the point I'm making. It can be beautiful. It can also be completely devoid of any content. And what's the
Yeah.
point of that?
Yeah, a flower pot is there for you to put something nice in. Cool. So, yeah. As I was going to say, in better video game news, Hades 2 finally came out ish. You know,
Yeah,
how
one of
that
my friends
goes.
has been really really digging it. I haven't touched it personally though, but have you?
Yes. So I am writing a story. It is the God of War slash DXD crossover that also is technically a Hades crossover because it has a bunch of Hades characters taking the place of the Greek pantheon because they are nothing characters in DXD.
Mm.
So yeah, my original plan, like I started this fic well over a year ago, when Hades 2 was announced. And it was supposed to be coming out like 3 months later, so I could get a feel for the characters. That was well over a year ago, so I've just been kind of doing my best with what we got. I guessed some
Yeah.
things correctly. I guessed some things incorrectly, but it is what it is. In terms of that, I'm mostly fine. In terms of the game itself, it's fun. It's a little bit more mechanically dense, I'm gonna say, than the first game. There are a lot of different materials that need to be gathered, like a lot.
I mean, it's. I assume it's meant to be played for a long time.
Yeah, the game came out as early access with 1.5 times the content that was in Hades 1 by full release. So that all exists now. Like, you can do the full run of the, going down to face the final boss and you can fight him. It's cool. He's a bastard. And there is also an alternate path that you can also take that is halfway done. There are 2 floors of that, and then it just kind of full stops. In the same way that original Hades did in the early access time, where it didn't actually let you finish. So it just said, yeah, so character is gonna go out and do stuff, and then sadly something terribly unfortunate happens to them, death screen. Which was funny then. It's still kind of funny now, I'm not gonna lie.
It doesn't he die when he's exposed to the sun or something?
Yeah, that is because of, like, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades drew lots for who was going to rule over what. Hades got the proverbial short straw and was given control of the underworld. Because of that, he was bound by fate to only stay in the underworld, and if he or any of the other chthonic deities try to venture onto the surface, they will get weaker until they just die and go back. Which is a plot element of 2 that I won't go into too much, but it is neat. My view of the artwork in the game is, I'm gonna say, mixed. There are some that I like, some that I don't. Generally, I have a feeling that a lot of the character designs are a lot less distinct and easily identifiable by color or motif than they were in the first game. Like, in the first game, everyone had a distinct color, and that was their color kind of thing. So, you have Zeus, he's yellow, lightning stuff. You've got Poseidon, who's blue, the ocean. In this one, it's like they have 3 different characters in the red, orange... Sorry, 4 different characters in the red, orange, yellow kind of spectrum, which makes them harder to tell apart in a minor way. But, like... I don't want to say the character design was basic in Hades 1, because it wasn't really basic so much as, like, intentionally fundamental, I'm going to say. Like, it was very clear that they were going for, this is this character, and made those aspects of that character very identifiable very quickly. Whereas in this, there's a lot going on in all of them, and it feels like a lot of details for the sake of having extra details in the character, which isn't as good in my opinion. But that's very much an opinion thing. Story wise, again, a little bit mixed. It feels a lot less Greek myth and a lot more New Age Wicca.
Huh. Okay.
Everything in the game is about witches and worshipping the moon and brewing potions and that sort of motif. And okay, I guess, sure, feels a fair bit less Greek, but I don't know, it's fine, I guess. There are characters in this game that are hateable in intentional ways, but that you know how there are the hateable characters that are hateable and it's fun to hate them?
Yeah.
And then there are the characters that are hateable and you just want them to go away and never fucking talk to you again.
Yeah, you just don't want them to be here.
Yeah, this sort of sits in the middle of those two for some of these characters.
I've heard someone say once or twice, intentionally insufferable is still insufferable.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to mild spoil on a little bit of this. So, there is a character called Nemesis in the game. She is the goddess of revenge. And, you know,
Oh no.
eye for an eye, justice kind of thing. And she is kind of the relentless archetype of I'm going to fuck shit up and no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm just going to fucking do it and you can't stop me. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to fuck shit up. And she hates you. She hates Malinui. I've gotten the pronunciation wrong every time I've said her name before now, but apparently it is Malinui, not Melanoe. So Nemesis is kind of an asshole just all of the time. All of the time. She is also a spectacular asshole in gameplay. Because I know someone here played Hades 1.
I did.
Yeah.
I played it briefly.
I have it unopened by my Wii. Wii Switch. Listen to what I mean, not what I say.
Yeah.
In any case, I've still been meaning to play it.
It's still a fantastic game, even with the second one coming out. So that game has a character called Thanatos, god of death, and he just randomly shows up and sort of has an impromptu competition with you on who can kill the most enemies in that particular room. And if you win, he gives you a prize. He gives you, I think it was a max health up item.
Yeah.
If you beat him. And if not, then you still get the room award, and it's fine. So they did something similar in this game. So Nemesis will occasionally show up and she will challenge you in the same way that Thanatos did. Only this time, it's a bet, which means she will show up, and then whether you like it or not, you have to compete with her for who can kill the most enemies. And if you win, you get 100 gold. If you lose 100 gold.
Oh. Okay.
She is actually quite good at killing things very, very fast.
Wait, so there's no option to opt out?
Nope.
That seems kind of, given that the style of the game, that doesn't seem necessarily like a good option whatsoever. Because, I mean, part of the entire thing about doing like a roguelite is about the decisions that you make on the journey.
Yeah. Speaking of the decisions you make on the journey, I wasn't done.
Oh no.
So I said she'll show up in a room and she'll challenge you and stuff, and she's being like, oh, you can't handle this, I'll do it all for you, and fuck you, you suck. So when the competition is over, she will pick one of the exits of that room, and you can't take that one.
That's so dumb. That's terrible.
So yeah, usually when, you finish a room, you get a choice. Sometimes you get a choice, sometimes you don't. But if you get a choice, it will show you what's in each room that's coming up, and you get to pick which one you want. She takes that choice away from you. It is possible to run ahead of her if you make a really quick snap decision and just pick one and go. But if you don't do that, she will just run through and, take the choice away.
Huh. Is she a liked character in the fan base?
Here's the thing. I wasn't done.
Grot, it gets worse.
So, one of the rooms that you can randomly get in a run on a floor is a shop. Or, before every boss, there is the choice to go to a shop or get another reward that is chosen from a pool of potential rewards. If you go to a shop room, she might be there and decide to buy something from it.
No.
Yeah.
Does it destroy the shop?
It doesn't destroy the shop, but one of the 3 items that are there in that shop is now gone.
Oh.
Yeah. So, for example, if you happen to be running low on health and you get to the shop and you're like, oh, thank God I can get to the shop and get some health, and you see fucking Nemesis standing right there and she's just like, thanks, bye.
Right. I have a feeling if there's a modding community for this game, the number 1 mod is taking her out of the game.
Might actually happen, yeah. There is a thing, Pirate Software actually uploaded a clip of the entire game files are actually just open and viewable. So you can just kind of see the entire script running up for the game. If you can read that sort of thing, programmers. So it will be one of the easiest games in the world to mod, is the way he described it. So, yeah, that's a thing. But yeah, Nemesis sucks ass, and I think they really need to tone that shit down, because that is just awful, and I actually want to kill her. I hate her more than the main villain of the game by an order of magnitude.
See, it doesn't add anything to the game. Like, the fact that this can happen and that this is random, you have no control over it. It just feels punishing for the sake of being punishing.
Yeah, kind of.
It just doesn't seem like a good game design.
It doesn't really add fun factor, it just adds frustration. Yeah. So that's not great. There is another aspect that is very similar to that. I am not going to name the character, but there is a character that shows up if you are progressing too fast. So if you manage to, let's say, complete the first floor of the game in your very first run, this character will be there as you move to the next floor, and they will put a debuff boon on you. That means you take 20% extra damage from enemies plus 5% for every fight that you get in.
Why?
Because they don't want you to progress too fast. And in fairness, that one is a little more tolerable. A little bit. I understand what the design ethos for that is. And if you're the type of player that is going to do the speedrun shit, by the time you get to the 3rd floor, that damage increase is not going to matter anyway. Everything would one-shot you no matter what. So for the people it would really hamper, it wouldn't actually make that much of a difference. And for everyone else, it slows you down so you can't just rush straight through the game and make a fucking joke out of it. I understand the ethos. It's maybe a little clumsily done, but I get it. I don't get Nemesis. I just think that's bad.
I think that's probably the first time I've heard of a roguelike game having a punishment for doing well on your first run. Because even with say, Binding of Isaac or Enter the Gungeon, the way those typically go is you do well, okay, cool. You're not going to see everything on your first run though, because you need multiple runs anyways to unlock some of the cool extra awesome stuff as well. So that's part of the design ethos. Is it's fine if you do well on your first run, but that's not going to be your only run, because if you want to see everything the game has to offer, you're going to be running this game a lot anyways.
I don't know.
If you do want to take a break from Hades 2 at any point and you want another roguelike, RoboQuest. I forgot I played a lot of that. Well, 10, 15 hours. Very good. First person roguelike. There's not a great breadth of content there, but it is very fun. I beat the game on my 3rd run because I got very lucky and found a legendary weapon on 20% of the way into a run. So that became my build for the rest of that playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Hades 2 is still great fun. It's a very different experience to playing the first game, because the first game was kind of fast and this one is much more slow and methodical. Progression seems neat, if a little cumbersome and complicated. Not to the point of Path of Exile or anything, obviously, but just a little much. Art design a little squiffy, but it's fine. They're doing a different thing. That's okay.
It's still early access though, so I mean,
Some of these designs are very clearly finalized, and then there are some that are very clearly not. Like some of them are just colored sketches, and the writing is very Circle of the Moon, the goddess inside me, Wicca, blah. Which, I mean, let's be real. I'm not the target for that, and that's fine. But it doesn't feel particularly on brand for the setting. I don't know.
did the writers change by any? Like, did that?
I
was
wouldn't
it
have thought
still the
so,
same
but
writers?
maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So that's still great. I'm still enjoying it a great deal. Yeah. I should probably stop playing at Mind because I do want to enjoy the full game when it comes out, and early access is a killer for that kind of thing. It's like, hey, I've played like 60 hours of this game. Oh, the full version's out, but I've played 60 hours of this game.
There's also the weird thing where you go back and they've added a bunch of new things that you're supposed to find midway through. So you have a lot of high-end stuff and then like zero of a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. It
So
makes
your
progression
progress
weird,
can be
yeah.
yeah, your progress gets weirdly crippled.
I remember when I was doing Dead Cells early access. It's like, oh hey, your save doesn't work anymore. Okay, cool.
Oof.
Yeah,
That's the
Supergiant are
worst.
pretty good about that, of not doing like gigantic save breaking changes. Like they future proof pretty well, or they did in Hades 1, which was their only early access game. So I'm not especially worried about that, but I'd still probably say, hey, stop and then play it again when, the full version comes out. Also, there are some very obvious balance things that need to be ironed out, but that's early access all over, isn't it? So
Yeah, that feels about standard.
yeah, so think that's everything.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that I've done of note.
I'll quickly
All right.
pull up the Steam and see if there's anything. 14.
Oh,
No.
I can't believe another roguelike that is much more lighthearted and silly is Wizard with a Gun. I played a little bit of that. It's it's a twin stick shooter roguelike. You build your home base as you go. So like you build a bounty board, and then some special enemies in the overworld will have bounties attached to them. You bring them back, and you get a special gun for it, and then you can pick any number of special bullets you can make, which are actually spells. So like you can do poison bullets that are poison spells, and shock and force and order bullets was an interesting one because when you when you go into the overworld, you get a time limit, and what it is based on your difficulty. So if you're an easy, it's 10 minutes, normal 5, and then I'm going to assume hard is 2.5 or 3. Never actually played on hard. And then when that timer counts all the way down, which you can extend by killing special enemies, the world falls apart and chaos starts invading. And so the world just starts disintegrating because it's very Bastion-esque in its visuals. So the world is floating platforms, and chaos erodes those. So you can make more, but like you will not be able to fully save the world, or maintain any form of land once the chaos starts happening. So and order bullets do extra damage to chaos enemies. So if you need to farm like XP, which chaos enemies drop, you make the order bullets. It's very nice.
Question.
Yep.
Roguelike or roguelite?
I don't actually know the difference anymore.
Roguelite is where you make incremental progress over every single run, and your character just becomes stronger by default every run. Whereas roguelike, I would still class things like Binding of Isaac, where you just get more options, as a roguelike. Because you start the same every run.
No, it's definitely a light then.
Okay.
You as you upgrade your home base, you gain access to more things, and it is very clearly upgrades. Like when you've beat the first boss, you gain access to the generic bullet, which is just like destruction bullets, rank 2. So your baseline attack goes up.
Okay,
automatically.
yeah. Okay. In that case, that sounds like something I would. So,
It's
yeah.
it's very low difficulty, honestly. Even playing on normal, the time limit was the most annoying part. Is the reason I kicked it down to easy is just I just wanted more time to play.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. That sounds good.
Does anyone have anything else?
I have baby with a gun stuck in my head now.
Fair.
Baby with a gun. With a
I
gun.
mean,
Baby with.
only new thing I've been watching is the new season of Konosuba.
Yeah, of
Has it
course
been
you
good, by the way? I've seen some clips and they seem very fun.
It's very funny. We've gotten to the point where the main cast is so familiar with each other that they are. It is very Always Sunny, and it's great. And um, it's. I've been laughing every episode. It's been great. So big
Okay.
recommendation.
That's great.
Okay.
Because yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. We've been recording for close to 2 hours. Hey, Zero,
Yeah.
how's the Petterton?
Oh, the Petitpimpa.
Petterton.
Lucky that you asked about the Petitpimpa.
Oh, also, Akuma came out in Street Fighter. I have not played it because I don't give a fuck about Akuma. Everyone else does. Akuma.
I did see the way to activate Shin Akuma, whatever, is so unreasonably long that nobody's going to be doing it.
Thank you to our patrons for being us on Patreon. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you to James MacArthur for your $2 donation. Thank you to Ryu Hitsia for your $1 donation per month. Thank you to Vale for your $10 donation. Thank you to Greek Guy for $1 donation. Thank you to Ethan F for $10 donation. Thank you to the Crossbrain for $10 donation. And thank you to Troper for your $10 donation. I am still saying the prices. Last time I was saying I was just going to say the names, but you know what? Screw it. I'm doing it anyways. I don't care anymore. My throat's wrecked. I've been coughing all this time.
Relatable. Well, thank you all.
Okay. Yeah.
Very appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently season 2. Ooh. Sorry, I just found out season 2 of Blood of Zeus is out.
Okay.
Sweet. Have
So,
fun.
Netflix animation cartoon with the people who made the Castlevania anime decided to make a Greek mythology inspired series called Blood of Zeus. It's good. I'm gonna watch that. Anyway,
Cool beans.
y'all have a good time.
Have a good one.
Hope. I might have to risk the toilet at this point.
Just
It's a
use the
bad
bathroom.
time.
I would.
Yeah.
Listen, okay, what's the worst that could happen?
You could also just go to whatever store is nearby and use their bathroom.
It is midnight. It is 0:30 out here, man.
I forgot. Okay, I forgot about the time difference.
Yeah.
It's 6:30 p.m. here, so
Yeah. Worst case scenario, the weapon was used in a stabbing, which, by the way, there was a stabbing 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember when Kenshi used to sing the fucking In the Ghetto?
Yeah.
Whenever I talked about where I live? Someone stashed a murder weapon in my back. I don't know whether it was a murder weapon. Someone stashed a weapon in my backyard and ran the fuck away over a fence.
it is a suspicious tool of violence that has been stored in your back. It doesn't matter what it was. It's suspicious.
Oh boy.
Anyway, I got a steak waiting for me, so I'm gonna go cook that. I gotta
Okay,
go.
bye.
See you later.
Looking forward to looking at
Later.
local news. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.